All right, everybody, gather round. Welcome, apprentices. I am your master instructor, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome you to your very first day on the shop floor. Consider this orientation explainer your ultimate guide to the incredible world of craftsmanship you're about to dive into. Today, we're going to walk the floor together, look at the tools of the trade, and lay down the foundational laws of the workshop.
Now, as you'll quickly learn, everything we do here is highly hands-on. Whether you're wrestling with rigid steel or shaping soft clay, mastering any trade requires a deep respect for your materials and understanding the foundational methodology of good craftsmanship. You see, it's not just about picking up a tool. It's about knowing exactly why and how you're using it to shape the physical world around you.
Okay, let's dive into this rotation schedule. We have 5 unique stations to cover today: sheet metal work, plumbing, food processing, furniture making, and pottery.
First up, Station 1, sheet metal work.
Welcome to the sheet metal station. This is where the magic of industrial transformation happens. Here, we take thin, rigid sheets of steel, aluminum, and copper, and we turn them into highly useful, durable products. But before you even think about picking up a tool, we need to get straight on 2 crucial terms. Forming is how we shape metal without cutting it at all, using hammers and folders to bend the sheet. But when we do make a cut, we create what's called a burr. A burr is this razor-sharp, unwanted edge left behind on the metal. And let me tell you, dealing with that burr, that is literally the difference between an amateur and a pro.
To actually get those professional results, we follow this universal 6-step process. First, we scope the item and figure out exactly what we're making. Next, we design and draw it with proper dimensions, but look really closely at step 3, making a prototype out of cardboard. Why on earth would we do that? Because you absolutely need to understand the folds and joints before making permanent, expensive cuts into real metal. Only after that do we select our materials, make our cuts, and finally, smooth the whole thing out.
Consider this the uncompromising golden rule of the sheet metal station. You must always, and I mean always, wear your safety gear: gloves, goggles, aprons, and keep your fingers far away from the bending zones. As for the product itself, you always remove that burr using files or grinders. We want perfectly smooth edges every single time.
Let's move on and see how this builds. Station 2, essential plumbing skills.
Follow me across the shop floor as we transition from shaping metal to controlling the flow of water and waste. And this brilliantly illustrates what I mean. Notice the secure grip, the proper stance, and the active use of protective gloves while handling the pipe wrench and fittings. Plumbing requires immense precision, guys. A loose joint means a leak, and quite frankly, a leak means failure.
So, here is your basic toolkit for this station. You've got your pipes, whether that's PVC or galvanized iron, designed for carrying water. You have your pipe wrench and spanner for tightening those joints. But the absolute secret to preventing joint leakages? That little roll of thread seal tape. Wrapping that around your threads before joining the pipes is what guarantees a secure, totally leak-free seal.
Every trade has its quality and safety maxims, right? Well, here is ours for plumbing. First off, you must ensure your hands are dry before handling tools to maintain a safe grip. Your pipes have to be aligned straight. Your water flow needs to be completely smooth without any airlocks or blockages. And most importantly, you must leave 0 drips behind.
All right, keep up. Station 3, food processing basics.
Briskly step this way into our pristine prep kitchen. We are shifting gears entirely now, moving away from metal scraps and water valves to focus on raw food materials. The core of this trade is transformation. We start with raw materials, unprocessed grains, fresh fruits, vegetables, milk. And through processes like cleaning, cutting, cooking, or fermenting, we turn those into preserved foods. The entire goal here is to safely increase the shelf life of the food, while maintaining a uniform texture, taste, and appearance.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the incredible order and cleanliness of the workspace. Look at the strict physical separation of the ingredients. Everything is sorted, cleaned, and placed in its own separate bowl. This isn't just for aesthetics, folks. It's the fundamental method for avoiding cross-contamination during prep.
Which brings us to the firm golden rule for food processing. Hygiene is simply non-negotiable. You wash your hands thoroughly before you ever touch a piece of food, and you never, under any circumstances, allow raw food materials to cross-contaminate with processed foods. In this station, safety means safe consumption for the public.
Let's step right out of the kitchen. Station 4, furniture making fundamentals.
Welcome to the sawdust-filled woodworking zone.
Furniture making is such a fantastic trade because it's where practical skills perfectly combined with immense creativity and careful, deliberate workmanship. Here, you're actively using hand tools to cut, drill, and shape your materials. And hey, notice the gloves. Even though wood feels natural, splinters and sharp chisels are a real hazard. Safety is just as vital here as it is over with the sheet metal.
Let's get our woodworking vocabulary down. Joinery refers to the precise methods we use to connect parts of furniture together. Finishing is that final surface treatment, like sanding and polishing. But pay special attention to this one, seasoned wood. This is wood that has been intentionally dried to reduce its moisture content. If you use unseasoned wood, it will completely ruin your hard work by shrinking and warping over time. It's a total deal breaker.
Once again, we see a familiar 6-step method pop up. Scoping, drawing, selecting materials, they're all here. But ask yourself, why in the world do we make a paper or cardboard prototype for a wooden box or shelf? The answer is simple, because we always prototype before we cut into expensive lumber. It lets you test the layout of your joints and ensure stability without wasting a single plank.
The workshop maxim for furniture making is all about integrity. Your product has to have the strength and stability to support its intended load. Your joints must be accurate and flush. You've got to maintain sharp tools. Remember, a dull chisel is a dangerous chisel. And importantly, we prioritize material efficiency, ensuring the absolute minimum waste of scrap wood and recycling leftovers whenever we can.
All right, last stop for today. Station 5, the art of pottery.
For this final station on our rotation, we're transitioning from rigid wood and metal to something entirely pliable. Let's unpack the toolkit. Your main material is local clay or terracotta. You have a wire cutter for cleanly slicing off lumps of clay. But look at that second item, sand, or what we call grog. We actively add this into the clay to improve its strength. It significantly reduces the chances of your beautiful product cracking during the intense drying and firing process.
There are two concepts you absolutely must master here, wedging and slip. Slip is basically just clay mixed with water, and it acts like a glue when we want to join parts together. But wedging? That is the act of forcefully kneading the clay to remove air bubbles. So the crucial point is this. If you skip the wedging step, those trapped air bubbles will expand when heated, and your piece will literally explode inside the kiln. No joke.
As we wrap up this station, remember my golden rule for pottery. A stable pot needs a perfectly flat base, and its walls must maintain a uniform, even thickness so it dries properly. Furthermore, clay dust is a serious respiratory hazard. You have got to use wet cloths to clean surfaces and strictly avoid inhaling that dust when sweeping up your workspace.
So, apprentices, we've walked the entire shop floor. You've seen sheet metal, plumbing, food processing, woodworking, and pottery. But think back across all of those stations for a second. What is the one universal step every single master craftsman shares before they ever pick up a tool? The answer is step 1, scoping and design. Thorough planning is the ultimate secret to all trades. Let that sink in tonight. Get some rest, because tomorrow we put on our gloves and the real work begins.